Let us do Prarthana and start the session. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Annado Sri Jagannada Madguru Sri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tat Padam Darchitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. The only Guru of three religions, Traitatheram originator, sensational writer, author of more than 100 divine holy scriptures, the emperor of spiritual kingdom, Hindu virtue donor, Sri 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 Acharya Prabodhananda Yogeshwar. We are learning Traitatheram Bhagavad Gita, chapter Atma Samyama Yogam. So last week we learnt up to 11th Shlokam to 18th Shlokam. So let us re-review the meanings of the Shlokams last time what we gone through. So whenever a yogi wants to do Brahma Yogam, how he has to make the setup and arrange the things. So he should select a place. It should be very clean and plain. He has to put dharbas, the grass, on that. On top of that, skin of any animal, and then a cotton cloth over that, and he has to sit to practice the Brahma Yogam. So then after that, what he has to do, he has to make his mind focused, concentrated, to make that mind to zero state, and he has to stop all the organs functioning, and he has to stop the task of chittam. Then he has to have only one desire in his mind, that to visualize Atma itself. Then so he has to keep study his body, head, and his neck in a straight line, and his sight should be in between the two eyebrows. That's called nasikagram. It's the end of the nose. End of the nose is not the outside part, it's in between two eyebrows. He should not put his sight left or right. So he should keep steady. He should be steady and keep his focus in between two eyebrows. Then he should get the peacefulness. He should be in the peaceful state, and he should have determination that he must get the Brahma Yogam state, and he should not fear for anything. His focus should be always on the Atma itself. That means, so he should suppress his mind, and his chittam should focus on his Atma itself, immortal soul itself. So when and then yogi should always suppress, control his mind. Whenever he is doing so, he should get the liberation and be with peace always. The one who eats lot of food and who does lot of fasting and who sleeps a lot and who is awake uselessly, he cannot practice the Brahma Yogam. The one who takes limited food, does limited task, and goes for limited sleep, and be in a limited awakeness, so that kind of person can get the Brahma Yogam, and he will be away from all the sorrows. So whenever the yogi is able to put his chittam on the Atma itself always, and he will be away from all his desires, all his external worldly related desires. He will not have any focus on them, and he will have complete focus on the Atma itself. then he got the Yogam itself. So this is what we learnt last week. So today let's learn from 19th Slokam onwards. So what is 19th Slokam is saying over here? यथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यत चित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः. God is saying this slokam about the Brahma Yogam itself. So whenever he gets Brahma Yogam, so how his state is compared over here, the Jivatma state is compared over here with a light, with a lightning lamp, with a lamp which is giving the light, right? So that one, so whenever you light up the lamp, so the lamp is like where you keep that lamp during the festival time, or when you are praying the God, you will put a lamp, right? It's not candle. Yeah, it can be a candle also. When you light up a candle, so you will see its light, right? So that light should not move here and there. So what here he is saying is, so whenever wind is blowing, the light can move here and there, here and there. So when there is no wind at all, it does not waver here and there. It will be steady, stable itself. That's what in the slokam he is saying over here. So in our body also, whenever the mind, buddhi and chittam, the mind, intellect and chittam, among these three, if one is stopped, other two will be stopping over there. We can assume like that. So here in this slokam, he is saying that the controlled chittam, the one who has controlled chittam, that means the one who has controlled his mind. So in this slokam also he is saying, so for the yogi whose chittam is stopped, he is saying, that means for that yogi the mind is also stopped there, it's not doing anything. So whenever there are the thoughts coming to the mind, then the buddhi and chittam also will be busy. So when mind is stopped there itself, then buddhi and chittam does not have anything to do. So the intellect and chittam won't do any task. So similarly, the external organs also will not work at any cost. So they don't work at all. So in an ordinary person's point of view, for an ordinary person, what happens? So the mind which is working, it is in the working state, right? When the mind is working, so the mind is able to grasp the matters from 5 sensible organs. It's grasping. When it is grasping that matters, so it is giving it to mind is giving it to buddhi will be analyzing over that, and then the jivatma, the mortal soul, will get the experiences of the honor, dishonor, hardships, happiness, and cold and hot. Those kind of feelings he is going to get in that situation. So this is how, see, when there is a wind blowing on all the sides, when there is a candle, it is lighting, the candle light will be moving here and there, here and there. So here the candle light is like a mind. So when the matters are coming to the mind is not in the stable state. So it's moving, wavering here and there. So when you don't make the mind to get the matters, external matters, so mind will be steady there. Actually here, so when this is compared with a lamp which will be steady when there is no wind at all. So that means if there is no wind, you assume what happens? So immediately it will be stopped there, right? Light will be shut up completely. So here the mind also should go into zero state. It's not going into a single thought state, not single thought state. It's totally thoughtless state. That means zero state. It should reach to zero state itself. That is what here the actual meaning he is saying over here. So if your mind is still thinking focusing on one matter, so what happens? You are not going into the Brahma Yogam. So there what he is saying is, when your mind is out from all the external thoughts, everything, no thoughts, zero thought state, then only you will go into the Brahma Yogam. So that's what God is saying over here in the 19th Shlokam. So do you have any questions over here? If not, let us move on to the 20th Shlokam. What God is saying over here. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmana atmanam pashyannatmani tushyati. So whenever the yogi is in the yogam state, unification state, then his chittam is not working there. Then the mortal soul visualizes immortal soul and he will get Atmanandam. That's joy. He will get joy. He will enter into the joyful state, blissful state. That's what he is saying. So during the Brahma Yogam, what happens? All the external parts stop. They don't work at all. So every part inside the body is going to stop. So except in the deep sleep, in the remaining time, the buddhi, chittam and the mortal soul, they have to get something from the mind. The mind, the duty of the mind is to provide any thought or any matter while we are awake. So that's why in our lifetime also there are four stages. So what are they? Sleep, awake or awareness state, sleep state, awareness state, dream state, and the state of unification or yogam state. In the sleep, there is no task to mind to perform anything over there. But when we are aware or awake, in that awake state, what it does, it will grasp all the matters from five sensible organs and provide it to the buddhi. Then what buddhi does? So buddhi is going to analyze, chittam is going to decide. So mind, intellect and chittam, the mortal soul are all in awake state there itself. So in the awake state, so and also in the in during the Brahma Yoga and in the awake state, not only these are awake, but all the body parts are moving and they are doing the task, and the mortal soul will be experiencing all the feelings, whatever we came to know about cold and hot, happiness, sorrow, and honor, dishonor, those kind of feelings the mortal soul is going to experience during that state. But if it is Brahma Yogam, what happens? In the Brahma Yogam state, we came to know that, so he will be sitting at idle at one place. So he will stop all the organs, all the sensible organs matters. So those won't come to the mind, and also mind will not get any thoughts internally also. That also stopped. Two types of tasks stopped for mind there itself. Then what happens? So mind will be awake, buddhi will be awake, chittam will be awake, in awake state, uh, in awareness state, and he will be under the under the mortal soul. So mortal soul, mind, intellect, those four are always in awareness state in the Brahma Yogam itself. That state, what happens actually? So the mind, until then, during the awake, the mind was getting all the matters from external organs, right? Goodbye. So then it is stopping there itself, and it will turn towards internal, and it will be getting the matters of the immortal soul. So whatever the matters immortal soul, that mind is going to grasp that is given to the mortal souls. The concentration will be on the Atma itself, immortal soul itself. So he will be in the joyful state, during that time, and his focus will be on the Atma itself. He is getting it through the view of the mind itself, through the sight of the mind on the Atma itself. Directly mortal soul is not going to get that. So there is a mind which will provide that matters to the mortal soul. Actually here if we see, the Jivatma, the mortal soul, directly cannot view the Atma itself. So he should have the mind in between. Mind only will have access to the Atma. So it provides the Atma matters to the Jivatma. So during that unification, so the Buddhi, which is in front of the mortal soul, which will get the Atma matters from mind, then Jivatma, the mortal soul, is going to be experiencing those. So that state is blissful state. He will be experiencing Anandam. That means the joy in that uh, state. So let us see what he is saying over in the 21st Slokam. Sukhamatyantikam yatta buddhigrahyamati indriyam veti yatra na chaivayam stitachalati tattvataha. So the infinite blissful state is beyond the organs, beyond the organs matters, so that is grasped by the intellect. Once he gets that joy, then he will not move here and there, and he will be steady, and he will be grasping that always during the Brahma Yogam state itself. So during the Brahma Yogam state, what happens? So the joy of the Atma, the joyness of the Atma, we can say joyful state, the blissful state. He will be in the blissful state, right? So when the Jivatma is in the blissful state, when the mortal soul in the blissful state, he will be getting the joy from the Atma itself always. So the mind is grasping it from the Atma, the immortal soul, and providing it to the mortal soul. So that joy cannot be grasped through the five sensible organs. The five sensible organs, through five sensible organs, only we will get five external worldly related matters that won't provide that much happiness. So compared to the immortal soul, which is providing during the Brahma Yogam itself. So during the Brahma Yogam, the intellect which is grasping that from the mind, and mind is grasping it from the Atma. So since the mortal soul is behind the Buddhi is feeding everything to the mortal soul, then and also the Buddhi has the great power of analyzing it and summarizing the matters, and in detail it will explains to the Jivatma, the mortal soul. The mortal soul will be in the infinite joyful state. So he will be always craving for that, and the joy which he got during that time, which he did not get previously by his external organs at any time. So that's why he will think it as a very great thing, greatest thing, the greatest joyful, greatest joy. He will think it is a greatest joy, Akshaya Sukham, Atmanandam we can say, Brahmanandam we can say. So that's what about 21st slokam. Let us see 22nd and 23rd. Yam labdhva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tata yasmin sthito na dukke na guruna pi vichalyate tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangnitam sanichaye na yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa. What he is saying over here? So he has provided two slokams meaning at only one place. Let us see what he is saying over here about Brahma Yogam. So when the yogi gets Brahma Yogam, during that time, so whatever currently he has with respect to the external worldly related matters, if you have something extra given for his benefit, some extra benefit he got from the worldly related matters, or if there is something bad which comes according to the worldly related thing, according to his karma, during that state he will not hesitate for that, he will not be in sorrow at all. So when he is in that state is called Brahma Yogam state. So whenever he goes through this stage, so he will not have any worriness in his internally, there is no worriness for him, and he will be steady in the Brahma Yogam state itself. So that is what. So when we compare the external worldly related matters related the happiness and sorrow which he is getting through his sensible organs, when we compare that with the Brahma Yogam, the unification with immortal soul, so what happens? So if something bad news comes to him when he is in the Brahma Yogam state, he does not hesitate for that. If you bring him a great news like he got a lottery with $1 million, or if he got a male child, that means his wife conceived a male child, he is not going to be very happy for that, since he got already that the joyful state whichever he is in Brahma Yogam, that is the greatest thing compared to the external worldly related matter. So as long as he is in the Brahma Yogam state, there is no chance of any sorrow for him. He will be in the infinite joyful state during that time. So he will not have any kind of sorrow in his mind, and he will be in always Yogam itself. That's what he is saying. He is comparing the joyful state, joyness during the Brahma Yogam and the external matters. So yogi will choose the Brahma Yogam always. He will be very, very joyful state or blissful state. He will be in the Brahma Yogam itself. So let us see next two slogans what Lord Krishna is saying over here. Sankalpa prabhavan kamam tyaktva sarvan asheshataha manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha shanai shanai ruparamed buddhya dhruti gruhitaya Atma samstam manah krutva na kinchidapi chintayet. So, because of the thoughts from the mind, so they are bombarding the mortal soul. So those thoughts will encourage the emotions. So those emotions are the main reason. uh, they are the buddhi is always busy in making the doing analysis and generating the thoughts as well. So whenever you could stop the thoughts from the mind completely without even a single one, and whenever you stop your mind from the organs, action sensible organs matters. And what he's saying over here, so the courageous intellect, your brave, your courageous intellect should divert your mind from external world related matters to Atma, to immortal soul. That is what we need to do. That's what Lord Krishna is saying over here. So, because the thoughts of the mind uh, will have the matters related to the emotions, and the buddhi will follow the emotions whenever whichever the matter comes to that, according to that matter the intellect will be thinking with the emotion attached to related to that matter itself. So whenever the mind is stopped, mind is not providing the matters of the sensible organs which it is get from external organs, so there is nothing for the intellect to think about that. So whenever that's happening, that's fine. So if the mind itself internally bringing the thoughts, what about that? So during that time, what the buddhi has to do is, buddhi has to command the mind, and it has to tell the good words to mind, and it has to divert the mind from those matters, the matters related to the emotions, and it will turn the mind towards the Atma itself. So that is the hardest thing. The hardest thing is turning the mind from thoughts to the immortal side. So whenever the mind completely becomes a thoughtless state, then only we can enter into the Brahma Yogam state. So the practicer, so who is practicing to enter into the Brahma Yogam, so the mind, if you stop one type of task, another type of task is there for the mind, that will always bringing the thoughts internally, and it will have the thoughts related to the some matters. So the buddhi, what it has to do is, it should not scare for that one. It should not be it should not fear for that. So it should be with braveness there itself. It should be with much more courageous over there. So then it has to come continuously teach the mind, and it has to divert the mind from those thoughts to the immortal side, so immortal soul side. Then only he can get the Brahma Yogam state. Even though it is a hard task, but the buddhi has to do that one. So intellect has to do that one. Whenever intellect gets success, then only Brahma Yogam will happen. Let us stop the session over here. Let us do Mangala Prardhana and end it. Om Mangalam Gurudevaya Mahaniya Prabodhatmane Sarvaloka Sharanyaya Sadhu Rupaya Mangalam. Prabodharpnam to everyone.